guys, welcome back. I know it has been a little while and I do apologise for that, but I am back here filming once again in my new setup. I thought, new room, new setup, I might just start a new series. So I thought I'd just do the basic kind of special effects things. So I'll go over cuts, scars, bruises and all of those things and just show you how simple and effective they can be. Today I thought I'd start the series off with scars. I did have a request from a user on Instagram, which I will put your name here if you're watching. So for today's tutorial, the things you will need is some Scarwax, 99% alcohol, and this is only if you will be using alcohol activated palettes, otherwise this is not necessary. I like to colour mine with alcohol activated colours just because I like the way that they go on more, but by no means does that mean that you have to use that. You can of course use foundation, eyeshadows, anything that you can get your hands on. You'll also need some Vaseline, sculpting tools, some brushes, preferably smaller ones, just as in you will be working on a smaller surface. I do also suggest a spatula or just something that you can scrape off excess Scarwax with. Well, I will be using an alcohol activated palette, however I will only be using kind of reds and pinks for this. So anything from lipstick to eyeshadows will probably work just as well, however I will not be showing that technique in this video. Let's get started, guys. So if you do want this to last a little bit longer, I would recommend putting spirit gum down. However, I am just quickly putting this on and taking it off, so I will not be using it. As well, just roll out a thin sausage, I guess you'd call it, of Scarwax and just place it where you want. The spirit gum does of course help keep it down. As there is no adhesive, it is a little bit harder to put. So now you've got it where you want it, you're just going to want to try and smooth down the edges. If it had adhesive underneath it, I would use just my finger with some Vaseline, but I am using a tool just because it can come up a little bit. So you just want to dip the end of that in some Vaseline and start smoothing down the edges. Now once you have just got most of the edges down, just go in with your finger and start to smooth it out. At this point I realised that it was a bit too thick, so I just went over with the spatula and cleaned up the edges a little bit to make it a bit thinner, and then took a little bit off the top just to make it that little bit closer to the skin, as I didn't want it quite as raised. And once you're happy with the shape of it, you just want to go back in and just smooth off those sharp edges, because scars usually are quite rounded off, as that's just the way that they usually heal. So you can see here that it's quite close to the skin and I really didn't want it too raised, as well as it's slightly uneven. It dips in some points and is a little bit higher in others. And now with Skin Illustrator's blood tone, I'm just going to go over with some really thin kind of layers and then build it up slowly until I get a nice kind of raw skin tone. I know that sounds pretty horrible, but just slowly increase that and just washing off any excess colour I've got around the edge. I still want it to be a little bit pink though, as if it's still healing. I don't want a fully healed look just yet, but there we go guys, that is the scar all done and dusted. If you wanted to make it a little bit shinier, as if it was still a little bit more raw, you could easily just add a little bit of Vaseline to the top, or a little bit of lube or something just to make it a little bit shiny. So guys, that is the finished look. You can probably not see that very well from there, but that is just a simple scar using Scarwax. So you will see that it does move reasonably well, and even without any adhesive underneath it, it does hold reasonably well. If you were wanting to wear this for any really long period of time, I would definitely recommend putting spirit gum or Prozaid or any form of adhesive underneath it, just to make sure that it does stay in place that little bit more. Anyway guys, that's all for today, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as much as I did doing it for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!